Have you ever felt like you were just surviving, not living? Imagine waking up every day with a tightness in your chest, that feeling that something is wrong, but you don't know exactly what it is. The alarm rings, you get up tired, swallow a quick coffee, and throw yourself into chaotic traffic. The noise of horns, the pollution, the pressure from the boss, the bills that never stop coming. That was his life. He had everything society says we need to be happy. Stable job, house in the city, comfort. But inside, he was crumbling. Anxiety was his constant companion. The fear of spending his whole life trapped in this hamster wheel, running without getting anywhere, consumed him. And what if I told you he left it all behind? He traded the comfort of air conditioning for the fresh air of the forest. He traded the deafening noise of the city for silence, which at first is scary. He decided to build a cabin in the middle of nowhere. But this video is not about wood, nails, or construction. It is about the courage to save one's own soul. Would you have that courage? Before we continue this journey, if you also dream of finding peace and a simpler life, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this video from right now? Let me know in the comments below. Think about your routine right now. How many times in the last week have you stopped just to breathe and look at the sky? No phone, no notifications, no worries. It's hard, isn't it? We get used to the chaos. We get used to living with fear and anxiety. He was used to it too. He thought life was just this, suffering during the week to have 2 days of rest, where he was too tired to enjoy it. The decision to leave wasn't easy. In fact, it was the scariest thing he ever did. Imagine the fear of failure, the fear of the unknown. What will people say? They will call him crazy. And they did. They said he was throwing his life away. But deep down, he knew his life was already being thrown away, minute by minute, in that closed office without windows. When he arrived in the forest for the first time with nothing but a few tools and a dream, reality hit hard. It's not like in the movies. The forest is damp, cold, and above all, silent. Silence can be deafening for someone used to noise. In the beginning, the lack of distractions caused all his bad thoughts, all his anxiety to surface. There was no Netflix to drown out the mind. There were no social networks to distract him. It was just him and nature. And that is scary. Could you stay alone with your own thoughts for days with nowhere to run? This is the moment when most people give up, because looking inside yourself hurts. He began to clear the land. Every bush he cut. It felt like he was also cutting away a piece of his stressful past. The physical work was heavy. His hands, used to typing on keyboards, became covered in calluses and wounds. His back ached. But curiously, that physical pain was different. It wasn't the pain of stress tension that locked his neck in the city. It was a pain of purpose. He was building his own shelter. For the first time in years, he slept without needing pills. The tiredness of the body calmed the mind. Have you ever experienced this kind of tiredness? That good tiredness of having done something real with your own hands. The construction of the cabin moved slowly. There was no rush. In the city, everything is for yesterday. The deadline, the goal, the delivery. In the forest, time works differently. If it rains, you don't work outside. You wait. You learn to respect the rhythm of nature, not the rhythm of the clock. He learned that there is no point in fighting against the rain. This was a hard lesson. How many times do we fight against things we cannot control? Traffic, the weather, other people's attitudes. He realized that his anxiety came from this need to control everything. There, amidst the giant trees, he realized he was small. And by feeling small, he felt free. The weight of the world lifted from his shoulders. But don't think everything was perfect. There were stormy nights when he questioned everything. The wind howled outside, shaking the trees, and he, alone in an unfinished structure, felt true primal fear, the fear of not being safe. But at dawn, seeing the sun breaking through the clouds and illuminating the wet leaves, an immense gratitude took over him. He was alive. He was safe. He had survived the night. In the city, we are so protected that we forget what it is to feel life pulsing. We forget the value of a simple roof and a cup of hot coffee. For him, that coffee, made on a simple stove, tasted like the best thing in the world. When was the last time you really savored your coffee without looking at a screen? As the weeks went by, the cabin began to take shape, but something else was being built there. A new man. That anxious guy who bit his nails and had tachycardia on Sunday nights was disappearing. He began to notice details that previously went unnoticed. The different sound of birds, the smell of wet earth, the texture of wood. His senses, which were dormant from the overstimulation of the city, woke up. He felt connected. Not connected to Wi-Fi, but connected to something greater. He realized he was part of that ecosystem. He wasn't a visitor. He was part of the forest. This sense of belonging filled the void he felt in his chest. That hole he tried to fill with shopping, food, or empty entertainment was now full of peace. Have you ever stopped to think about the cost of your comfortable life? How much does your peace cost? He did the math. He realized he worked to pay for comfort he didn't have time to enjoy, to impress people he didn't even like. It was an endless cycle. By simplifying life, by reducing his needs to the basics, he discovered true wealth. He didn't need designer clothes in the forest. The trees don't care about your job title or your bank balance. This is liberating. He stripped away the social masks. There, he was just a man. And that was enough. Do you feel like you are enough without your job title or your possessions? Who are you when you take all that away? Anxiety, that old enemy, tried to come back a few times. The habit of worrying is hard to break. Sometimes he caught himself thinking about the future, worried about money or old age. But the forest has a way of bringing you back to the present. You need to chop wood to keep warm today. You need to fetch water to drink now. Simple life requires presence. You can't live in the future when you need to ensure the warmth of the night. And this presence healed his mind. Living in the now is the best medicine for anxiety. He learned to focus on what was in front of him, the wood, the nail, the fire. One step at a time, one breath at a time. The cabin was finished. It wasn't a mansion. It was small, cozy, made of wood and glass. But for him, it was a palace. Every board had a story. Every corner had his sweat. When he lit the fireplace for the first time, sitting in his old armchair, watching the snow or rain falling outside, he felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Contentment. Not that euphoric and fleeting joy of buying a new phone, but a calm, deep, and lasting happiness. The feeling of being exactly where he should be. Do you know what that feeling is like? Of not wanting to be anywhere else in the world? He looked out the window and saw life happening. Squirrels running, leaves falling, the cycle of seasons. He realized that nature is in no hurry, and yet everything happens. Flowers bloom at the right time. Trees grow in their own time. Why are we humans in such a rush? Why do we run so much to get where? In the end, the destination is the same for everyone. What matters is the journey. And his journey, once gray and blurred by speed, was now colorful and sharp. He could see life in high resolution. Many ask, but doesn't he feel lonely? Loneliness is a state of mind. You can be surrounded by people on a crowded subway and feel like the loneliest person in the world. He felt like that in the city, surrounded by people but with no real connection to anyone. In the forest, he was physically alone, but he never felt so accompanied by the life around him, accompanied by himself. He learned to like his own company. He became his best friend. When you love yourself and are at peace with yourself, loneliness turns into solitude. It becomes a sacred moment of meeting your essence. Do you like your own company, or do you do everything to avoid it? His diet also changed. No processed food, full of chemicals, fast foods swallowed in front of the computer. He prepared his meals calmly. The smell of spices invaded the small cabin. The act of cooking became a ritual. He ate slowly, savoring every bite. His health improved. His skin, once pale and tired, gained color. His body, once sedentary and aching, became strong and agile. It is impressive how our body responds when we remove the poison of stress and poor diet. He rejuvenated. It seemed he had gone back 10 years in time. Are we aging faster because of the lifestyle we lead? The night in the forest brings a spectacle that the city stole from us: the stars. Far from artificial lights, the sky reveals itself. Millions of bright points. Looking at the immensity of the universe every night puts our problems in perspective. That overdue bill, that silly argument, that project that went wrong, all of this seems insignificant in the face of the greatness of the cosmos. He spent hours just looking up. It brought humility. It brought peace. He realized his problems weren't the center of the universe. This shift in perspective was fundamental to healing his anxiety. We are just stardust contemplating the stars. But don't think he isolated himself from the world completely. The difference is that now he chooses when to interact. He is no longer bombarded. He has control. And when he meets people, he is present. He truly listens. His relationships, even at a distance, became more real. He stopped complaining. In the city, complaining is the favorite sport. We complain about the weather, the government, the traffic. There, he only had reasons to give thanks. Gratitude transformed his mind. He was grateful for the dry wood, for the clean water, for the sun. Gratitude is the opposite of anxiety. You cannot be grateful and anxious at the same time. Try it now. Think of 3 simple things you are grateful for. Do you feel the difference in your body? This story makes us question what success is. Society sells us the idea that success is having a lot of money, luxury cars, and power. But is it? He had money, but he had no time. He had comfort, but he had no peace. Now, he has little money, but he owns his time. He wakes up when his body rests, not when the alarm commands. He eats when he is hungry. He works on what makes sense to him. Isn't that true success? Being the owner of your own life? Maybe we've been fooled all this time. Maybe we are chasing a prize that isn't worth the effort.
Of course, this life isn't for everyone. Not everyone can or wants to drop everything and go to the woods, and that's okay. But the lesson he leaves us goes beyond geographical change. His cabin can be a metaphor for your life. You don't need to go to the forest to find peace, but you need to build your internal cabin, a place inside you where the noise of the city doesn't reach. A mental refuge where you can disconnect, breathe, and remember who you are. Do you have this place? Or have you let the world invade every corner of your mind? He teaches us that it is possible to live with less and be more. That happiness is not in the next purchase on Amazon, but in appreciating what we already have. He traded complexity for simplicity. And in that exchange, he won. He discovered that the simple life is actually the most sophisticated of all, because it requires wisdom. It requires courage to go against the herd. It requires self-knowledge. He stopped being a sleepwalker in his own life to become the protagonist. Imagine now the sound of rain hitting the wooden roof. He is inside, reading a book by candlelight with a mug of hot tea in his hands. The world outside may be falling apart. Stock markets may crash, crises may arise. But there, in that small piece of paradise he built with his own hands, there is peace. He looks around and smiles. He knows he made the right choice. He didn't just change houses. He changed lives. He saved himself. And you, what do you need to do today to start saving yourself? The anxiety he felt in the city was a signal, an alarm from the body saying, "This isn't right." We usually ignore these signals. We take a pill and keep going. He decided to listen. And by listening, he found the way back home. Not the brick house, but the inner home. The feeling of being comfortable in one's own skin. That is priceless. There is no salary in the world that pays for peace of mind. If you feel that tightness in your chest, maybe it's time to listen to what it's trying to tell you. Maybe you don't need to build the cabin, but you need to demolish some walls you built around yourself. During the process, he also learned about resilience. In the city, any small problem seemed like the end of the world. The coffee got cold, the day is ruined. The internet went down, panic. In the forest, problems are real. The water ran out, you have to fetch it from the river. The wood got wet, you will be cold. He learned to deal with real problems with calm and action instead of despair. This made him stronger. He discovered he is capable of much more than he imagined. We underestimate our ability to adapt. We are survivors, but modern life has made us soft. He recovered that ancestral strength. And the fear of the future? That fear that keeps us from sleeping? He realized that the future is just a projection. The only moment that exists is now. By living intensely in the present, the fear of the future diminishes. He trusts his ability to handle whatever comes. He trusts nature. He trusts life. This trust replaced fear. It is a powerful exchange, trading fear for trust. Do you trust life, or are you always expecting the worst to happen? Anxiety is basically expecting the worst to happen. He decided to expect the best and work for it. The beauty of this story lies in its simplicity. There are no big plot twists, no villains, no explosions, just a man in search of himself. And perhaps that is the greatest adventure of all, the adventure of discovering who we are, away from the expectations of others. He discovered that he likes silence. He discovered that he likes working with wood. He discovered that he needs very little to be happy. And these discoveries are worth more than gold. How many things about yourself do you still not know because you were too busy to find out? He spent afternoons watching ants work. It might seem like boredom to a busy mind, but for him, it was meditation. He saw cooperation, persistence. Nature is the greatest teacher there is. Everything we need to know about life is written in the forests, rivers, mountains. We just need to stop to read. He became an attentive student, and the wisdom he acquired is not in books, it is in experience. It is in the skin. Today, when he wakes up, he doesn't feel that tightness in his chest. He feels enthusiasm. Enthusiasm to see the sunrise, to tend the garden he planted, to walk in the woods. Life stopped being a burden and became a gift. He wakes up grateful for having another day. And this internal change reflects in everything. His eyes shine. His smile is easy. He became a light person. Do you know someone like that? Someone who transmits such great peace that you want to be near them? He became that person. And the most amazing thing is that he doesn't miss what he left behind. The expensive clothes got moldy. The luxury car makes no sense in the mud. The endless meetings seem like a distant nightmare. He looks at his old life as if it were the life of another person, a person for whom he feels compassion, but whom he never wants to be again. He forgave himself for taking so long to wake up, and that is important. It is no use blaming yourself for lost time. What matters is what you do with the time that remains. It is never too late to change. It is never too late to seek your cabin, be it physical or spiritual. His story inspires us because it touches a deep desire we all have, the desire for freedom. We want to be free from obligations that make no sense, free from masks, free from anxiety. He shows us that it is possible. Is it hard? Yes. Does it require sacrifice? Yes. But the reward is yourself. And there is no greater reward than reconnecting with your essence. He left the comfort of the city to find the comfort of the soul. And in that exchange, he became truly rich. Now, look around you. Look at your life. What is excess? What is there just to fill a void? What causes you anxiety? Imagine for a moment that you can let go of all that. Imagine the weight lifting from your shoulders. Breathe deeply. Feel the air entering your lungs. You are alive. And as long as you are alive, you can change your story. You are not a tree. You can move. You can change jobs, homes, attitudes. The key to your cell is in your pocket. He had the courage to use the key. And you? As the sun sets behind the mountains, dyeing the sky orange and purple, he sits on the porch of his cabin. The air cools. He pulls up a blanket. The silence of the night begins to arrive, bringing the sounds of crickets and owls. He closes his eyes and smiles. He doesn't need to be anywhere else. He doesn't need to be anyone other than who he is. He found what we all desperately seek in stores and screens. He found peace. And peace, my friends, is not for sale. It is built, board by board, choice by choice, renunciation by renunciation. This is the story of a man who built a cabin. But in truth, it is the story of a man who rebuilt himself, who had the audacity to say no to the world, to say yes to life, who traded anxiety for wholeness, who reminds us that life is simple. We are the ones who complicate it, that happiness is a state of being, not a place or an object, that nature is our original home, and that when we return to it, we return to ourselves. I hope this story has planted a seed in your heart, the seed of change, the seed of the search for what is essential. Do not let this seed die. Water it with reflection, with courage. Maybe you won't go to the forest tomorrow, but maybe you turn off your phone an hour early today. Maybe you look at the sky. Maybe you breathe deeper. And who knows, one day, you too will find your cabin, your refuge, your peace. Because you deserve to live, and not just survive. Life is fleeting. Make it worth it. What did you think of this journey? What would you be able to give up today in exchange for a quieter life? Leave it here in the comments. I want to know what is essential to you. And if the story touched you in any way, share it with someone who needs to slow down. Let's spread this message of calm in such a busy world. Until the next reflection.